has concluded that for me personally, it is important for me to go ahead and affirm that I think same-sex couples should be able to get married.
President Obama today making history, the first U.S. president to say that same-sex marriages should be legal. It will be an issue, perhaps a big one for campaign 2012. We're joined live by Republican Florida U.S. Senate candidate George LeMieux, who happens to be in town today to meet with local Republicans. Sir, thank you for being with us. Your reaction to the president's announcement?
Well, I don't agree with the president. In fact, the people of Florida don't agree with him either. In 2008, 60% of Floridians voted for a constitutional amendment that says marriage should be between one man and one woman. But I think we should really realize what's going on here. The president wants to do everything he can to not talk about the issue that's on the minds of everyone, which is how bad this economy is and how bad it's done under his presidency. So he's injecting these other issues, social issues, to change the topic so that we don't talk about how badly his administration has failed the American people.
Sir, why should same-sex couples not be allowed to be married in your view?
Well, my view is the view of most Floridians is that marriage is between one man and one woman. It's based on our Judeo-Christian heritage, and we believe that that institution should continue and only be for one man and one woman because it's the basis and bedrock of our society and our culture. It's not that people who are homosexual can't have other relationships and get other protections in the law, but marriage is special, it's a sacrament, it's sacred, and my view is that of the people of Florida when we passed our constitutional amendment about 4 years ago. And
what about the argument his supporters will make and your critics will make that love cannot be bound by the sexuality of the people involved in that loving relationship?
Well, it's a fair point that people can be in love in a lot of different ways, but marriage is something different. It is the family unit that allows for children to be raised and for children to procreate, and it's what we, in our Christian Judeo heritage, look to as the basis of society.
You touched on it earlier in your comments. The economy, you think, despite this huge hot-button social issue, will remain front and center in your view. Talk about that.
Well, the economy is the biggest issue despite the president's efforts to try to change the topic. We've got nearly 1 million people here in Florida that are out of work, hundreds of thousands more who don't have enough of a job. That's a serious issue. 24% of all the home foreclosures in America and Florida. And instead of doing the things to get people back to work, what this Congress and this president have done, have passed things like Obamacare and Dodd-Frank. Business people all over Florida tell me that those two pieces of legislation are keeping people from going back to work. They are keeping job creators and entrepreneurs from hiring folks.
Sir, lastly, all GOP candidates seem to be fighting to get traction in this campaign for the GOP U.S. Senate nod from Floridians. You've attacked Connie Mack, saying he's not spending enough time in Florida. He argues he has homes elsewhere, but spends a lot of time in Fort Myers. Some say it's a sign of a cheap shot and desperation. At least that's what his campaign's saying about your comments. Your thoughts, your reaction?
Well, that's of course what they would say, but the truth is we just don't know where Connie Mack IV lives. I say the fourth, it's an important point. It's not his father, the U.S. Senator. This is the son. His wife is a congresswoman from California, and while that's fine, she lists him as a resident of California in her legal documents. All we've asked is that he release the documents on his travel as a member of Congress, and let's see how many days he's spending in Florida. I think the people of Florida want a Floridian who lives here, who's raising his family here, to represent them in Washington, D.C.
We'll be seeing plenty of both of you as the debate for the Florida U.S. Senate seat goes on, and, of course, on the Florida and national level, the ongoing debate about gay marriage. Thank you for taking time to join us.
Thank you,
Mr.
Michael.
LeMieux.